英詩の構造。編者新倉俊一。吹き込みハリー・ゲスト、ウィルバー・アイザックス。ギター演奏渋沢豊子。発行駿河台出版社。
Oh, what is that sound which so thrills the ear? W.H. Auden. Oh, what is that sound which so thrills the ear down in the valley, drumming, drumming? Only the scarlet soldiers, dear, the soldiers coming. Oh, what is that light I see flashing so clear over the distance brightly, brightly? Only the sun on their weapons, dear, as they step lightly. Oh, what are they doing with all that gear? What are they doing this morning, this morning? Only their usual maneuvers, dear, or perhaps a warning. Oh, why have they left the road down there? Why are they suddenly wheeling, wheeling? Perhaps a change in their orders, dear. Why are you kneeling? Oh, haven't they stopped for the doctor's care? Haven't they reined their horses, their horses? Why, they are none of them wounded, dear, none of these forces. Oh, is it the parson they want with white hair? Is it the parson? Is it? Is it? No, they are passing his gateway, dear, without a visit. Oh, it must be the farmer who lives so near. It must be the farmer so cunning, so cunning. They have passed the farmyard already, dear, and now they are running. Oh, where are you going? Stay with me here. Were the vows you swore deceiving, deceiving? No, I promised to love you, dear, but I must be leaving. Oh, it's broken the lock and splintered the door. Oh, it's the gate where they're turning, turning. Their boots are heavy on the floor, and their eyes are burning. Proud Maisie, Walter Scott. Proud Maisie is in the wood, walking so early. Sweet robin sits on the bush, singing so rarely. Tell me, thou bonny bird, when shall I marry me? When 6 broad gentlemen Kirkwood shall carry ye. Who makes the bridal bed, birdie, say truly? The grey-headed sexton that delves the grave duly. The glowworm o'er grave and stone shall light thee steady. The owl from the steeple sing, welcome, proud lady. La Belle Dame sans Merci, John Keats. Oh, what can ail thee, knight-at-arms, alone and palely loitering? The sedge has withered from the lake, and no birds sing. Oh, what can ail thee, knight-at-arms, so haggard and so woe-begone? The squirrel's granary is full, and the harvest's done. I see a lily on thy brow, with anguish moist and fever dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose fast withereth too. I met a lady in the meads, full beautiful, a fairy's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. I made a garland for her head, and bracelets too, and fragrant zone. She looked at me as she did love, and made sweet moan. I set her on my pacing steed, and nothing else saw all day long, for sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy's song. She found me roots of relish sweet, and honey wild, and manna dew, and sure in language strange she said, I love thee true. She took me to her elfin grot, and there she wept and sighed full sore, and there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses 4. And there she lulled me asleep, and there I dreamed, ah, woe betide, the latest dream I ever dreamt on the cold hillside. I saw pale kings and princes too, pale warriors, death pale were they all. They cried, La Belle Dame sans Merci, thee hath in thrall. I saw their starved lips in the gloam, with horrid warning gaped wide, and I awoke, and found me here on the cold hillside. And this is why I sojourn here, alone and palely loitering, though the sedge is withered from the lake, and no birds sing.
Out, out. Robert Frost. The buzzsaw snarled and rattled in the yard, and made dust and dropped stove-length sticks of wood, sweet-scented stuff when the breeze drew across it. and from there those that lifted eyes could count 5 mountain ranges, one behind the other, under the sunset far into Vermont. And the saw snarled and rattled as it ran light or had to bear a load. And nothing happened. Day was all but done. Call it a day, I wish they might have said, to please the boy by giving him the half-hour that a boy counts so much when saved from work. His sister stood beside them in her apron to tell them, "Supper." At the word, the saw, as if to prove saws knew what supper meant, leapt out at the boy's hand, or seemed to leap. He must have given the hand. However it was, neither refused the meeting. But the hand. The boy's first outcry was a rueful laugh as he swung toward them, holding up the hand, half in appeal, but half as if to keep the life from spilling. Then the boy saw all. Since he was old enough to know, big boy doing a man's work, though a child at heart, he saw all spoiled. "Don't let him cut my hand off, the doctor, when he comes. Don't let him, sister." So, but the hand was gone already. The doctor put him in the dark of ether. He lay and puffed his lips out with his breath. And then the watcher at his pulse took fright. No one believed. They listened at his heart. Little, less, nothing, and that ended it. No more to build on there. And they, since they were not the one dead, turned to their affairs.
To an athlete dying young, A.E. Houseman. The time you won your town the race, we cheered you through the marketplace. Man and boy stood cheering by, and home we brought you shoulder high. Today the road all runners come, shoulder high we bring you home, and set you at your threshold down, townsman of a stiller town. Smart lad, to slip betimes away from fields where glory does not stay, and early though the laurel grows, it withers quicker than the rose. Eyes the shady night has shut cannot see the record cut, and silence sounds no worse than cheers after earth has stopped the ears. Now you will not swell the rout of lads that wore their honors out, runners whom renown outran, and the name died before the man. So set, before its echoes fade, the fleet foot on the sill of shade, and hold to the low lintel up the still defended challenge cup. And round that early laureled head will flock to gaze the strengthless dead, and find unwithered on its curls the garland briefer than a girl's.
Poem in October, Dullan Thomas. It was my 30th year to heaven, woke to my hearing from harbour and neighbour wood, and the mussel pooled and the heron priested shore, the morning beckon with water praying and call of seagull and rook, and the knock of sailing boats on the net-webbed wall, myself to set foot that second in the still sleeping town, and set forth. My birthday began with the water birds and the birds of the winged trees flying my name above the farms and the white horses, and I rose in rainy autumn and walked abroad in a shower of all my days. High tide and the heron dived when I took the road over the border, and the gates of the town closed as the town awoke. A springful of larks in a rolling cloud, and the roadside bushes brimming with whistling blackbirds, and the sun of October summery on the hill's shoulder. Here were fond climates and sweet singers suddenly come in the morning where I wandered and listened to the rain-ringing wind blow cold in the wood far away under me. Pale rain over the dwindling harbour, and over the sea-wet church the size of a snail, with its horns through mist, and the castle brown as owls. But all the gardens of spring and summer were blooming in the tall tales beyond the border and under the lark-full cloud. There could I marvel my birthday away, but the weather turned around. It turned away from the blithe country, and down the other air and the blue altered sky streamed again a wonder of summer, with apples, pears, and red currants. And I saw in the turning so clearly a child's forgotten mornings when he walked with his mother through the parables of sunlight and the legends of the green chapels and the twice-told fields of infancy, that his tears burned my cheeks and his heart moved in mine. These were the woods, the river and sea, where a boy, in the listening summer-time of the dead, whispered the truth of his joy to the trees and the stones and the fish in the tide, and the mystery sang alive still in the water and singing birds. And there could I marvel my birthday away, but the weather turned around, and the true joy of the long-dead child sang burning in the sun. It was my 30th year to heaven stood there then in the summer noon, though the town below lay leaved with October blood. Oh, may my heart's truth still be sung on this high hill in a year's turning.
The Rhodora, on being asked, "Whence is the flower?" R. W. Emerson. In May, when sea winds pierced our solitudes, I found the fresh rhodora in the woods, spreading its leafless blooms in a damp nook. To please the desert and the sluggish brook, the purple petals fallen in the pool made the black water with their beauty gay. Here might the redbird come his plumes to cool, and court the flower that cheapens his array. Rhodora, if the sages ask thee why this charm is wasted on the earth and sky, tell them, dear, that if eyes were made for seeing, then beauty is its own excuse for being. Why thou wert there, O rival of the rose, I never thought to ask, I never knew, but in my simple ignorance, suppose the self-same power that brought me there brought you. The Poplar Field, William Cooper. The poplars are felled. Farewell to the shade and the whispering sound of the cool colonnade. The winds play no longer and sing in the leaves, nor Ouse on his bosom their image receives. 12 years have elapsed since I first took a view of my favorite field, and the bank where they grew. And now in the grass, behold, they are laid, and that tree is my seat that once lent me a shade. The blackbird has fled to another retreat, where the hazels afford him a screen from the heat, and the scene where his melody charmed me before resounds with his sweet-flowing ditty no more. My fugitive years are all hasting away, and I must ere long lie as lowly as they, with a turf on my breast and a stone at my head, ere another such grove shall arise in its stead. 'Tis a sight to engage me, if anything can, to muse on the perishing pleasures of man. Though his life be a dream, his enjoyments, I see, have a being less durable even than he. A Grave, Marianne Moore. Man looking into the sea, taking the view from those who have as much right to it as you have to it yourself. It is human nature to stand in the middle of a thing, but you cannot stand in the middle of this. The sea has nothing to give but a well-excavated grave. The firs stand in a procession, each with an emerald turkey foot at the top, reserved as their contours, saying nothing. Repression, however, is not the most obvious characteristic of the sea. The sea is a collector, quick to return a rapacious look. There are others besides you who have worn that look, whose expression is no longer a protest. The fish no longer investigate them, for their bones have not lasted. Men lower nets, unconscious of the fact that they are desecrating a grave, and row quickly away, the blades of the oars moving together like the feet of water spiders, as if there were no such thing as death. The wrinkles progress among themselves in a phalanx, beautiful under networks of foam, and fade breathlessly while the sea rustles in and out of the seaweed. The birds swim through the air at top speed, emitting catcalls as heretofore. The tortoiseshell scourges about the feet of the cliffs, in motion beneath them, and the ocean, under the pulsation of lighthouses and noise of bellboys, advances as usual, looking as if it were not that ocean in which dropped things are bound to sink, in which if they turn and twist, it is neither with volition nor consciousness.
The Yachts, W.C. Williams. The yachts contend in a sea which the land partly encloses, shielding them from the too heavy blows of an ungoverned ocean, which, when it chooses, tortures the biggest hulls, the best man knows to pit against its beatings, and sinks them pitilessly. Moth-like in mists, scintillant in the minute brilliance of cloudless days, with broad bellying sails, they glide to the wind-tossing green water from their sharp prows, while over them the crew crawls, ant-like, solicitously grooming them, releasing, making fast as they turn, lean far over, and having caught the wind again, side by side, head for the mark. In a well-guarded arena of open water, surrounded by lesser and greater craft which, sycophant, lumbering and flittering, follow them, they appear youthful, rare as the light of a happy eye, live with the grace of all that in the mind is fleckless, free, and naturally to be desired. Now the sea which holds them is moody, lapping their glossy sides, as if feeling for some slightest flaw, but fails completely. Today, no race. Then the wind comes again. The yachts move, jockeying for a start. The signal is set, and they are off. Now the waves strike at them, but they are too well made. They slip through, though they take in canvas. Arms with hands grasping seek to clutch at the prows. Bodies thrown recklessly in the way are cut aside. It is a sea of faces about them in agony, in despair, until the horror of the race dawns staggering the mind, the whole sea become an entanglement of watery bodies, lost to the world, bearing what they cannot hold. Broken, beaten, desolate, reaching from the dead to be taken up, they cry out, failing, failing, their cries rising in waves still as the skilful yachts pass over. To Autumn, John Keats. Season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run, to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd, and plump the hazel shells with a sweet kernel, to set budding more and still more later flowers for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has o'erbrimmed their clammy cells. Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half-reaped furrow sound asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while thy hook spares the next swath and all its twined flowers. And sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep steady thy laden head across a brook, or by a cider press, with patient look, Thou watchest the last oozings, hours by hours. Where are the songs of spring? Aye, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. While bowered clouds bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue, then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn among the river sallows, borne aloft or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. And full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne. Hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft the red-breast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. Autumn Scene, W.D. Snodgrass. In the public gardens they are walking. The skies appear correct and glum. Their heels click dryly. They are talking. Behind their backs the elms repeat some shocking news of what's to come. Otherwise the lawns like quiet. The beds are vacant, spaded, formal, where sparrows peck out a lean diet. After July's sun-scattering splash and riot, it's back to grey and normal. The gods and goddesses who stood here by the sundial, enshrined, absurd and eminently nude, are nailed into their houses of worn wood, out of sight, of mind. Even the flowers' name cards are gone, as if some fly-by-night affair, flaunting rich colour through the air, had quietly packed its furniture, withdrawn its funds, moved, who knows where. A white gull spins in off the river, jeering. One tiny wave expands along the hedges like a shiver. They're walking slow. Somehow they manage never to touch each other's hands. That time of year thou mayst in me behold. William Shakespeare. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare, ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self, that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the death-bed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceiv'st, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well, which thou must leave ere long.
I consider how my light is spent. John Milton. When I consider how my light is spent ere half my days, in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker, and present my true account, lest he returning chide, doth God exact day labor, light denied? I fondly ask, but patience to prevent that murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly. Thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest. They also serve who only stand and wait.
To his coy mistress, Andrew Marvell. Had we but world enough and time, this coyness, lady, were no crime. We would sit down and think which way to walk, and pass our long love's day. Thou by the Indian Ganges side shouldst rubies find. I by the tide of Humber would complain. I would love you 10 years before the flood, and you should, if you please, refuse till the conversion of the Jews. My vegetable love should grow vaster than empires, and more slow. 100 years should go to praise thine eyes, and on thy forehead gaze. 200 to adore each breast, but 30,000 to the rest, an age at least to every part. And the last age should show your heart. For, lady, you deserve this state, nor would I love at lower rate. But at my back I always hear Time's winged chariot hurrying near, and yonder all before us lie deserts of vast eternity. Thy beauty shall no more be found, nor in thy marble vault shall sound my echoing song. Then worms shall try that long preserved virginity, and your quaint honour turn to dust, and into ashes all my lust. The grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embrace. Now therefore, while the youthful hue sits on thy skin like morning dew, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires, now let us sport us while we may, and now, like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time devour than languish in his slow-chapped power. Let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness up into one ball, and tear our pleasures with rough strife thorough the iron gates of life. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet we will make him run.
Blue Girls, J.C. Ransom. Twirling your blue skirts, traveling the sward under the towers of your seminary, go listen to your teachers old and contrary without believing a word. Tie the white fillets then about your hair, and think no more of what will come to pass than bluebirds that go walking on the grass and chattering on the air. Practice your beauty, blue girls, before it fail, and I will cry with my loud lips and publish beauty, which all our power shall never establish. It is so frail. For I could tell you a story which is true. I know a lady with a terrible tongue, blear eyes fallen from blue, all her perfections tarnished. Yet it is not long since she was lovelier than any of you. London, William Blake. I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every ban, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney-sweeper's cry every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear, and blights with plagues the marriage hearse.
Anthem for Doomed Youth, Wilfred Owen. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns. Only the stuttering rifle's rapid rattle can patter out their hasty orisons. No mockeries for them from prayers or bells, nor any voice of mourning save the choirs, the shrill, demented choirs of wailing shells, and bugles calling for them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all? Not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their pall, their flowers the tenderness of silent minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds. A valediction forbidding mourning. John Donne. As virtuous men pass mildly away, and whisper to their souls to go, whilst some of their sad friends do say the breath goes now, and some say no, so let us melt, and make no noise, no tear floods nor sigh tempests move. 'Twere profanation of our joys to tell the laity our love. Moving of the earth brings harms and fears. Men reckon what it did and meant. But trepidation of the spheres, though greater far, is innocent. Dull, sublunary lovers' love, whose soul is sense, cannot admit absence, because it doth remove those things which elemented it. But we by our love so much refined that ourselves know not what it is, interassured of the mind, care less eyes, lips, and hands to miss. Our two souls, therefore, which are one, though I must go, endure not yet a breach, but an expansion like gold to airy thinness beat. If they be two, they are two so as stiff twin compasses are two. Thy soul, the fixed foot, makes no show to move, but doth if the other do. And though it in the centre sit, yet when the other far doth roam, it leans and hearkens after it, and grows erect as that comes home. Such wilt thou be to me, who must, like the other foot, obliquely run. Thy firmness makes my circle just, and makes me end where I begun.
Adieu, farewell, earth's bliss. Thomas Nash. Adieu, farewell, earth's bliss. This world uncertain is. Fond are life's lustful joys. Death proves them all but toys. None from his darts can fly. I am sick, I must die. Lord, have mercy on us. Rich men trust not in wealth. Gold cannot buy you health. Physic himself must fade. All things to end are made. The plague full swift goes by. I am sick, I must die. Lord, have mercy on us. Beauty is but a flower which wrinkles will devour. Brightness falls from the air. Queens have died young and fair. Dust hath closed Helen's eye. I am sick, I must die. Lord, have mercy on us. Strength stoops unto the grave. Worms feed on Hector brave. Swords may not fight with fate. Earth still holds ope her gate. Come, come, the bells do cry. I am sick, I must die. Lord, have mercy on us. Wit with his wantonness tasteth death's bitterness. Hell's executioner hath no ears for to hear. What vain art can reply? I am sick, I must die. Lord, have mercy on us. Haste therefore each degree to welcome destiny. Heaven is our heritage, earth but a player's stage. Mount we unto the sky. I am sick, I must die. Lord, have mercy on us. Spring and Fall to a Young Child, G.M. Hopkins. Margaret, are you grieving over Golden Grove unleaving? Leaves like the things of man you with your fresh thoughts care for, can you? Ah, as the heart grows older, it will come to such sights colder by and by. nor spare a sigh, though worlds of one would lief me or lie. And yet you will weep and know why. Now no matter, child, the name, sorrow's springs are the same. Nor mouth had, no, nor mind, expressed what heart heard of, ghost guessed. It is the blight man was born for, it is Margaret you mourn for.
Rose Aylmer, W.S. Landor. Ah, what avails the sceptred race? Ah, what the form divine? What every virtue, every grace? Rose Aylmer, all were thine. Rose Aylmer, whom these wakeful eyes may weep, but never see, a night of memories and of sighs I consecrate to thee.
When to the sessions of sweet silent thought, William Shakespeare. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes new wail my dear time's waste. Then can I drown an eye, unused to flow, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of fore-bemoaned moan, which I new pay as if not paid before. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored, and sorrows end. To Helen, E.A. Poe. Helen, thy beauty is to me like those Nicean barks of yore, that gently o'er a perfumed sea the weary, way-worn wanderer bore to his own native shore. On desperate seas long wont to roam, thy hyacinth hair, thy classic face, thy naiad airs have brought me home to the glory that was Greece and the grandeur that was Rome. Lo, in yon brilliant window niche, how statue-like I see thee stand, the agate lamp within thy hand. Ah, Psyche, from the regions which are Holy Land.
Twickenham Garden, John Donne. Blasted with sighs and surrounded with tears, hither I come to seek the spring, and at mine eyes and at mine ears receive such balms as else cure everything. But, O self-traitor, I do bring the spider love which transubstantiates all and can convert manna to gall. And that this place may thoroughly be thought true paradise, I have the serpent brought. 'Twere wholesomer for me that winter did benight the glory of this place, and that a grave frost did forbid these trees to laugh and mock me to my face. But that I may not this disgrace endure, nor yet leave loving love, let me some senseless piece of this place be. Make me a mandrake, so I may groan here, or a stone fountain weeping out my year. Hither with crystal vials, lovers, come, and take my tears which are love's wine, and try your mistress' tears at home, for all are false that taste not just like mine. Alas, hearts do not in eyes shine, nor can you more judge woman's thoughts by tears than by her shadow what she wears. O perverse sex, where none is true but she who's therefore true, because her truth kills me.
Anyone lived in a pretty how town. E.E. Cummings. Anyone lived in a pretty how town, with up so floating many bells down. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, he sang his didn't, he danced his did. Women and men, both little and small, cared for anyone not at all. They sow their isn't there, reap their same, sun, moon, stars, rain. Children guessed, but only a few, and down they forgot as up they grew, autumn, winter, spring, summer, that no one loved him more by more. When by now and tree by leaf she laughed his joy, she cried his grief, bird by snow and stir by still, anyone's any was all to her. Someone's married, their everyone's, laughed their cryings and did their dance, sleep, wake, hope, and then they said their nevers, they slept their dream. Stars, rain, sun, moon, and only the snow can begin to explain how children are apt to forget to remember, with up so floating many bells down. One day anyone died, I guess, and no one stooped to kiss his face. Busy folk buried them side by side, little by little and was by was. All by all and deep by deep, and more by more they dream their sleep. No one and anyone, earth by April, wish by spirit and if by yes. Women and men, both dong and ding, summer, autumn, winter, spring, reaped their sowing and went their came, sun, moon, stars, rain. Elegy for Jane, my student thrown by a horse. Theodore Retke. I remember the neck curls, limp and damp as tendrils, and her quick look, a sidelong pickerel smile, and how, once startled into talk, the light syllables leaped for her, and she balanced in the delight of her thought, a wren happy tail into the wind, her song trembling the twigs and small branches. The shades sang with her, the leaves their whispers turned to kissing, and the mould sang in the bleached valleys under the rose. Oh, when she was sad, she cast herself down into such a pure depth, even a father could not find her, scraping her cheek against straw, stirring the clearest water. My sparrow, you are not here, waiting like a fern, making a spiny shadow. The sides of wet stones cannot console me, nor the moss wound with the last light. If only I could nudge you from this sleep, my maimed darling, my skittery pigeon. Over this damp grave I speak the words of my love, I, with no rights in this matter, neither father nor lover.
I heard a fly buzz when I died. Emily Dickinson. I heard a fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. The eyes around had wrung them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for that last onset, when the king be witnessed in the room. I willed my keepsakes, signed away what portion of me be assignable, and then it was there interposed a fly, with blue, uncertain stumbling buzz, between the light and me. And then the windows failed, and then I could not see to see. Ode to the West Wind, P.B. Shelley. O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven like ghosts from an enchanter fleeing, yellow and black and pale and hectic red, pestilence-stricken multitudes. O thou who chariotest to their dark wintry bed the winged seeds where they lie cold and low, each like a corpse within its grave, until thine azure sister of the spring shall blow her clarion o'er the dreaming earth, and fill driving sweet buds like flocks to feed in air, with living hues and odours, plain and hill. Wild spirit which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, hear, O hear. Thou on whose stream, mid the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed, shook from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean, angels of rain and lightning. There are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge, like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce Maenad, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height, the locks of the approaching storm. Thou dirge of the dying year, to which this closing night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre, vaulted with all thy congregated might of vapours, from whose solid atmosphere black rain and fire and hail will burst. O hear. Thou who didst waken from his summer dreams the blue Mediterranean, where he lay lulled by the coil of his crystalline streams beside a pumice isle in Baiae's bay, and saw in sleep old palaces and towers quivering within the waves' intenser day, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers so sweet the sense faints picturing them. Thou for whose path the Atlantic's level powers cleave themselves into chasms, while far below the sea blooms and the oozy woods which wear the sapless foliage of the ocean know thy voice, and suddenly grow grey with fear, and tremble, and despoil themselves. O hear. If I were a dead leaf thou mightest bear, if I were a swift cloud to fly with thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power, and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free than thou, O uncontrollable. If even I were as in my boyhood, and could be the comrade of thy wanderings over heaven, as then when to outstrip thy skyey speed scarce seemed a vision, I would ne'er have striven as thus with thee in prayer in my sore need. O lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon the thorns of life. I bleed. A heavy weight of hours has chained and bowed one too like thee, tameless and swift and proud. Make me thy lyre even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own? The tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both a deep autumnal tone, sweet though in sadness. Be thou, spirit fierce, my spirit. Be thou me, impetuous one. Drive my dead thoughts over the universe like withered leaves to quicken a new birth, and by the incantation of this verse scatter as from an unextinguished hearth ashes and sparks my words among mankind. Be through my lips to unawakened earth the trumpet of a prophecy. O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? The Idea of Order at Key West, Wallace Stevens. She sang beyond the genius of the sea. The water never formed to mind or voice, like a body, holy body, fluttering its empty sleeves. and yet its mimic motion made constant cry, caused constantly a cry that was not ours, although we understood, inhuman, of the veritable ocean. The sea was not a mask. No more was she. The song and water were not medleyed sound, even if what she sang was what she heard, since what she sang was uttered word by word. It may be that in all her phrases stirred the grinding water and the gasping wind, but it was she, and not the sea, we heard. For she was the maker of the song she sang. The ever-hooded, tragic-gestured sea was merely a place by which she walked to sing. Whose spirit is this, we said, because we knew it was the spirit that we sought, and knew that we should ask this often as she sang. If it was only the dark voice of the sea that rose, or even-coloured by many waves, if it was only the outer voice of sky and cloud, of the sunken coral water-walled, however clear, it would have been deep air, the heaving speech of air, a summer sound repeated in a summer without end, and sound alone. But it was more man that, more even than her voice, and ours, among the meaningless plungings of water and the wind, theatrical distances, bronze shadows heaped on high horizons, mountainous atmospheres of sky and sea. It was her voice that made the sky acutest at its vanishing. She measured to the hour its solitude. She was the single artificer of the world in which she sang. And when she sang, the sea, whatever self it had, became the self that was her song, for she was the maker. Then we, as we beheld her striding there alone, knew that there never was a world for her except the one she sang, and singing made. Raymond Fernandez, tell me if you know, why when the singing ended and we turned toward the town, tell why the glassy lights, the lights in the fishing boats at anchor there as the night descended, tilting in the air, mastered the night and portioned out the sea, fixing emblazoned zones and fiery poles, arranging, deepening, enchanting night. O blessed rage for order, pale Raymond, the maker's rage to order words of the sea, words of the fragrant portals dimly starred, and of ourselves, and of our origins in ghostlier demarcations, keener sound. The Mediterranean, Alan Tate. Quem das finem rex magnae dolorum. Where we went in the boat was a long bay a slingshot wide, walled in by towering stone, peaked margin of antiquity's delay, and we went there out of time's monotone. Where we went in the black hull, no light moved but a gull white-winged along the feckless wave. The breeze, unseen but fierce as a body loved, that boat drove onward like a willing slave. Where we went in the small ship, the seaweed parted and gave to us the murmuring shore, and we made feast, and in our secret need devoured the very plates Aeneas bore. Where derelict you see through the low twilight the green coast that you thunder-tossed would win, drop sail, and hastening to drink all night, eat dish and bowl to take that sweet land in. Where we feasted and caroused on the sandless pebbles, affecting our day of piracy, what prophecy of eaten plates could landless wanderers fulfill by the ancient sea? We for that time might taste the famous age eternal here, yet hidden from our eyes, when lust of power undid its stuffless rage. They in a wineskin bore earth's paradise. Let us lie down once more by the breathing side of ocean, where our live forefathers sleep as if the known sea still were a month wide. Atlantis howls, but is no longer steep. What country shall we conquer? What fair land unman our conquest and locate our blood? We've cracked the hemispheres with careless hand. Now from the gates of Hercules we flood westward, westward, till the barbarous brine whelms us to the tired land where tasseling corn, fat beans, grapes sweeter than muscadine, rot on the vine. In that land were we born. Fountain, Elizabeth Jennings. Let it disturb no more at first than the hint of a pool predicted far in a forest, or a sea so far away that you have to open your window to hear it. Think of it then as elemental, as being necessity, not for a cup to be taken to it, and not for lips to linger or eye to receive itself back in reflection, simply as water the patient moon persuades and stirs. And then step closer. Imagine rivers you might indeed embark on, waterfalls where you could silence an afternoon by staring, but never see the same tumult twice. Yes, come out of the narrow street and enter the full piazza. Come where the noise compels. Statues are bowing down to the breaking air. Observe it there, the fountain, too fast for shadows, too wild for the lights which illuminate it to hold even a moment an ounce of water back. Stare at such prodigality, and consider it is the elegance here, it is the taming, the keeping fast in 1,000 flowering sprays that builds this energy up, but lets the watchers see in that stress an image of utter calm, a stillness there. It is how we must have felt once at the edge of some perpetual stream, fearful of touching, bringing no thirst at all, panicked by no perception of ourselves, but drawing the water down to the deepest wonder. Dover Beach, Matthew Arnold. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strand, begin and cease, and then again begin with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle fold. But now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. Ah, love, let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. The Labyrinth, Edwin Muir. Since I emerged that day from the labyrinth, dazed with the tall and echoing passages, the swift recoils, so many I almost feared I'd meet myself returning at some smooth corner, myself or my ghost, for all there was unreal, after the straw ceased rustling, and the bull lay dead upon the straw, and I remained blood-splashed, if dead or alive I could not tell in the twilight nothingness. I might have been a spirit, seeking his body through the roads of intricate Hades. Ever since I came out to the world, the still fields swift with flowers, the trees all bright with blossom, the little green hills, the sea, the sky, and all in movement under it, shepherds and flocks and birds and the young and old. I stared in wonder at the young and old, for in the maze time had not been with me. I had strayed, it seemed, past sun and season and change, past rest and motion, for I could not tell at last if I moved or stayed. The maze itself revolved around me on its hidden axis, and swept me smoothly to its enemy, the lovely world. Since I came out that day, there have been times when I have heard my footsteps still echoing in the maze, and all the roads that run through the noisy world, deceiving streets that meet and part and meet, and rooms that open into each other, and never a final room, stairways and corridors and antechambers that vacantly wait for some great audience, the smooth sea tracks that open and close again, tracks undiscoverable, indecipherable, paths on the earth and tunnels underground, and bird tracks in the air, all seemed a part of the great labyrinth. And then I'd stumble in sudden blindness, hasten, almost run, as if the maze itself were after me and soon must catch me up. But taking thought, I'd tell myself, you need not hurry. This is the firm good earth. All roads lie free before you. But my bad spirit would sneer, no, do not hurry, no need to hurry. Haste and delay are equal in this one world, for there's no exit, none, no place to come to, and you'll end where you are, deep in the centre of the endless maze. I could not live if this were not illusion. It is a world, perhaps, but there's another. For once in a dream or trance I saw the gods each sitting on the top of his mountain isle, while down below the little ships sailed by, toy multitudes swarmed in the harbours, shepherds drove their tiny flocks to the pastures, marriage feasts went on below, small birthdays and holidays, ploughing and harvesting and life and death, and all permissible, all acceptable, clear and secure as in a limpid dream. But they, the gods, as large and bright as clouds, conversed across the sounds in tranquil voices high in the sky above the untroubled sea, and their eternal dialogue was peace, where all these things were woven, and this our life was as a chord deep in that dialogue, as easy utterance of harmonious words, spontaneous syllables bodying forth a world. That was the real world. I have touched it once, and now shall know it always. But the lie, the maze, the wildwood waste of falsehood, roads that run and never reach an end, embowered in error, I'd be prisoned there, but that my soul has bird wings to fly free. Oh, these deceits are strong almost as life. Last night I dreamt I was in the labyrinth, and woke far on. I did not know the place.
Ozymandias, P.B. Shelley. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Still, Citizen Sparrow. Richard Wilbur. Still, Citizen Sparrow, this vulture which you call unnatural, let him but lumber again to air over the rotten office. Let him bear the carrion ballast up, and at the tall tip of the sky lie cruising. Then you'll see that no more beautiful bird is in heaven's height, no wider, more placid wings, no watchfuller flight. He shoulders nature there, the frightfully free, the naked-headed one. Pardon him, you who dart in the orchard aisles, for it is he devours death, mocks mutability, has heart to make an end, keeps nature new. Thinking of Noah, child heart, try to forget how for so many bedlam hours his saw soured the song of birds with its wheezy gnaw, and the slam of his hammer all the day beset the people's ears. Forget that he could bear to see the towns like coral under the keel, and the fields so dismal deep. Try rather to feel how high and weary it was, on the waters where he rocked his only world and everyone's. Forgive the hero, you who would have died gladly with all you knew. He rode that tide to Ararat. All men are Noah's sons.
The Windhover, to Christ our Lord. G.M. Hopkins. I caught this morning morning's minion, kingdom of daylight's dolphin, dappled dawn-drawn falcon, in his riding of the rolling level underneath him steady air, and striding high there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing in his ecstasy. Then off, forth on swing, as a skate's heel sweeps smooth on a bow bend, the hurl and gliding rebuffed the big wind. My heart in hiding stirred for a bird, the achieve of, the mastery of the thing. Brute, beauty, and valour and act, O air, pride, plume, here, buckle, and the fire that breaks from thee then, a billion times told lovelier, more dangerous, O my chevalier. No wonder of it, sheer plod makes plough down Sicilian shine, and blue-bleak embers are, my dear, fall, gall themselves, and gash gold vermilion. The force that through the green fuse drives the flower. Dylan Thomas. The force that through the green fuse drives the flower, drives my green age, that blasts the roots of trees is my destroyer, and I am dumb to tell the crooked rose my youth is bent by the same wintry fever. The force that drives the water through the rocks drives my red blood, that dries the mouthing streams turns mine to wax, and I am dumb to mouth unto my veins how at the mountain spring the same mouth sucks. The hand that whirls the water in the pool stirs the quicksand, that ropes the blowing wind hauls my shroud sail, and I am dumb to tell the hanging man how of my clay is made the hangman's line. The lips of time leach to the fountain head, love drips and gathers, but the fallen blood shall calm her sores, and I am dumb to tell a weather's wind how time has ticked a heaven round the stars, and I am dumb to tell the lover's tomb how at my sheet goes the same crooked worm.
The Sick Rose, William Blake. O rose, thou art sick, the invisible worm that flies in the night, in the howling storm, has found out thy bed of crimson joy, and his dark secret love does thy life destroy.
Bavarian Gentians, D.H. Lawrence. Not every man has gentians in his house in soft September, at slow, sad Michaelmas. Bavarian gentians, big and dark, only dark, darkening the daytime torch-like with the smoking blueness of Pluto's gloom, ribbed and torch-like, with their blaze of darkness spread blue down, flattening into points, flattened under the sweep of white day, torch flower of the blue smoking darkness, Pluto's dark blue days, black lamps from the halls of Dis, burning dark blue, giving off darkness, blue darkness, as Demeter's pale lamps give off light. Lead me then, lead me the way. Reach me a gentian, give me a torch. Let me guide myself with the blue forked torch of this flower down the darker and darker stairs where blue is darkened on blueness, even where Persephone goes just now from the frosted September to the sightless realm where darkness is awake upon the dark, and Persephone herself is but a voice, or a darkness invisible, enfolded in the deeper dark of the arms plutonic, and pierced with the passion of dense gloom, among the splendor of torches of darkness, shedding darkness on the lost bride and her groom. Jabberwocky, Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, Callooh, Callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Byzantium, W.B. Yeats. The unpurged images of day recede. The emperor's drunken soldiery are abed. Night resonance recedes. Night walker's song after great cathedral gong. A starlit or a moonlit dome disdains all that man is, all mere complexities, the fury and the mire of human veins. Before me floats an image, man or shade, shade more than man, more image than a shade. For Hades' bobbin bound in mummy cloth may unwind the winding path. A mouth that has no moisture and no breath, breathless mouths may summon. I hail the superhuman, I call it death in life, and life in death. Miracle, bird, or golden handiwork, more miracle than bird or handiwork, planted on the starlit golden bough, can like the cocks of Hades crow, or by the moon embittered, scorn aloud in glory of changeless metal, common bird or petal, and all complexities of mire or blood. At midnight on the emperor's pavement flit flames that no faggot feeds, nor steel has lit, nor storm disturbs, flames begotten of flame, where blood-begotten spirits come and all complexities of fury leave, dying into a dance, an agony of trance, an agony of flame that cannot singe a sleeve. astraddle on the dolphin's mire and blood, spirit after spirit. The smithies break the flood, the golden smithies of the emperor. Marbles of the dancing floor break bitter furies of complexity. Those images that yet fresh images beget, that dolphin torn, that gong tormented sea. Kubla Khan, S.T. Coleridge. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alph, the sacred river, ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground, with walls and towers, were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. But oh, that deep romantic chasm, which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place, as holy and enchanted as ere beneath a waning moon was haunted by woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm, with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in fast thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift, half-intermitted burst, huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. And mid these dancing rocks at once and ever it flung up momently the sacred river, 5 miles meandering with a mazy motion, through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult Kubla heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. A damsel with a dulcimer in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I revive within me her symphony and song, to such a deep delight 'twould win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice, and all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, beware, beware, his flashing eye, his floating hair. Weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread, for he on honey dew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise.